Okay, this is the 2008 Prius that I've been working on this week, and I'm finished with it except for putting the skin on it, which the owner is going to come over and help me do. And also I put a radiator fan in here. Actually, the owner brought me all these parts, and the fan housing was broken, so I repaired it at his request. And when I got it in here, this tank, this is a tank, an overflow tank. It's where when you have more fluid in your radiator and the radiator can hold, it needs a place to go, so it goes into this overflow tank and then it drains back into the radiator when the radiator cools off. Well, on this one, the overflow tank was bad, so that when I started it, it leaked out the overflow tank, and you can't separate the overflow tank from the fan. So in order to fix that, I installed what we used to do back at the race. Well, we didn't run radiators necessarily at the racetrack, but that's a long story. But what I've done on a lot of cars, hot rods, and everything else is to get by temporarily, I dropped this Sprite bottle. You should be able to see the green of the container showing here. And I ran this tube down into that bottle, and it does the same thing as an overflow tank. In fact, it becomes an overflow tank. When you have too much fluid in your radiator, it drains into the bottle. When the radiator cools down, it sucks it back out. Now that's okay to get him around here, but he's going to want something better, permanent. So I ordered this. This is an overflow tank made out of stainless steel. And the way it works, it's got two tubes in the bottom here. And I'm going to take the cap off so that I can let you look down in the tube. So you notice it's got a long tube and a short tube. And if you look down in there, you should be able to see that tube right there. Well, that tube is connected to this longer tube. So what I want to do is I want to run the overflow line into the short tube. The short tube is only about this long, but it will go in here and it will fill this up. And it'll fill it up until it reaches the top of this longer tube. And at that point, whatever goes beyond that point will drain out of here. That's how an overflow tank works. So really all I have to do is to mount this in here, take that bottle out and replace it with this. So I'm going to do that now. The nice thing about this is it's not plastic and it won't deteriorate, and looks a lot nicer, and there's all kind of little benefits to having that. Okay, here it is after it's installed. The lower end is bolted to a cross member down in there. I do have this little piece of wire here, but that's just because I wanted to keep it kind of upright. You'll notice there's a little wheel right here, a little engine wheel, and I wanted it to be set in such a way where it would keep this away from that wheel, so I kind of wrapped it and pulled it back there. I think I might put a piece of wire right here also, just to make double sure. So when I started this video, I said I was going to make a video about how to put this front end back on this car after somebody knocked it off or bent it all out of shape. That didn't happen. It's not that I didn't make it, it's just that I had in mind of making a precise little quick video, but it was not precise or quick. I've been working on this thing for a week. But I got it all back together, and I got one final thing, and that's this hood latch. Now this hood is not straight on the car, and probably the front of the car ain't straight because it's been wrecked. So the hood sits over to the left, about a ½ inch, and I can't adjust the hood or the hood pin anymore. I adjusted the hood latch, but I had to modify it to do that, and I had to grind on it. I had to do a lot of specialty stuff. I got things hanging down here that I don't even know what they go to right now. I guess we'll figure it out. But what I hadn't done yet is close this hood. And when I say close it, I don't mean just gently shut it. I hadn't closed it completely so it would lock, so I could test to see if the latch is working. And I've run a new release inside the car because it was cut, it was broke. So this is gonna be my test slam. I'm gonna close that hood and then we're gonna see if we can get it open. And if we can, I'm gonna take that lock off. So y'all pray for me. 1, 2, 3. Well, it closes, but don't stay. Last washer, that's not as bad as I thought it could be. I was afraid it might close and I wouldn't be able to get it open. Let's see what we got going on. Let's give it a good hard slam like we're mad. Hey.
Hi.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Well, I'm done with it except that the hood won't stay closed. I was afraid it would close and not reopen, but it's closing, but it won't stay. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I may be at that point where I say, okay, you can have it back now, and you're going to have to run a rope under there and tie your hood down, because I may have reached the end of I might feel different in the morning. Sometimes this time of the day, I'm ready to say, heck with it, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
See, this don't line up. This comes down a little bit to the left, and I moved this a little bit to the left, but it didn't, it's not catching. It comes close. I'm afraid to slam too hard because I looked at it in the whole, I'm shaking the whole radiator when I do that. So, you see that whole thing shake?
You don't have to keep slamming it.
Right. I'm not going to slam it anymore. We're going to call it a good day. The camera's running so you can tell the YouTubers I said goodbye.
Goodbye.
See y'all next time.